Technology hosted the annual Women in Science Awards, and Leanne is at Hilton Hotel in Sandton this morning for the morning after the ceremony. Lee, it's a very good morning to you, and it's over to you.
It's a very, very good morning to you, and thank you so much. Looking forward to coming to you for the remainder of the show from the Hilton here in Johannesburg. And I must say, it's quite an incredible occasion, because last night this room was this beautiful, graceful gala dinner and award ceremony that has now been converted into our broadcast for this morning. So it's so lovely to be here in such great company. I can't begin to tell you who is present here in the audience. I mean, I've got a little bit to tell you. We've got people from the National Research Foundation that are present, the CSIR, the South African National Space Agency are represented, the HSRC, ASAF, NIPMO, the National Advisory Council, you name it, they are here. Everyone that is involved in the sciences here in South Africa are present, but the difference is they're all women. And this is what makes this award ceremony so exciting. It is recognizing the excellence in women that have done such incredible things in their lives to date in the field of science. And what's also wonderful is and you will meet them later as well, as the young upcoming scientists that are studying and hoping to take their careers a lot further with the help of the department, who have given them a great cash injection from the award ceremony last night. So we've got a panel with us now, and of course, I don't think I need to introduce her to you, but our guest of honor here this morning is the Minister of Science and Technology herself. It is such a pleasure to have you, Minister Naledi Pandor, and what a beautiful evening it was last night, you must agree.
It was incredible, Leanne. Good morning, and thank you very much. You were an excellent host, and I think drove the program exceptionally well. The entertainment was fantastic, but seeing those young, excellent scientists, those women, being part of Women's Month and celebrating their accomplishments, the work that they're doing, is really fantastic. And I think the sense we had last night was that the future of South Africa in science, technology and innovation looks very bright, and it will be led by many, many women.
Yeah, looks bright, and let me tell you something, it's a little secret, South Africa, it looks very beautiful too. You know, last night, one thing stood out for me is that I always believed that brains and beauty, you could only either choose one. Well, that theory was blown out the water last night, and we've got these beautiful ladies sitting with us as well. So let me introduce you to some of the winners and our adjudicator, one of the adjudicators from last night. So it's great to have Tisetso Lepoto, the winner in the Distinguished Women category. It is great to have you, and congratulations for last night.
Thank you very much.
Now, we'll talk a little bit more about what you've done, but also with us is another winner, Professor Trisha Naika, who was also one of the DST. No, I beg your pardon. Okay, I've got the wrong name here. But talk to me. What did you win last night? Because I know you won last night, but I'm looking, it's not here.
DST Distinguished Emerging Researcher.
There you go, Emerging Researcher. Congratulations again, and welcome. And then, of course, Professor Thandi Mgwebe, who's the adjudicator, one of the judges for last night, which is not an easy job, from UWC and the incoming DVC at TUT. Thank you very much for being with us here as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So, Professor, let me begin with you, because obviously judging something like this is not an easy task. It never is. But let's, I suppose, look at the standards of the ladies that entered and that won. I mean, do you find that it's just getting higher and higher, and each year the entrants are just reaching standards that we've never seen before?
No, thank you very much, Leanne. It's actually quite interesting, because every year when we do this adjudication and we meet as adjudication panelists, the standard is getting higher, but it's also getting more interesting. And you find that the spread of the universities is also increasing, but not increasing as much as we would like. So that's something also that we need to work on with the future ones. Yes. But certainly the spread of disciplines, they seem to be also getting younger, and all these beautiful, as you said, beautiful and bright PhDs and distinguished researchers. So we're getting a lot of quality that's coming in, and we're very proud of of the winners.
Yeah. I mean, Minister, do you want to add to that? Because obviously you've seen these awards growing in stature over the years, and they're just getting bigger and bigger.
It's unbelievable that we've had the Women in Science Awards for 14 years now. We began in 2003. And what's incredible is that we've maintained the program. We continue to invest in women. And I think that's really fantastic. It is an open call. And so the nominees are nominated by peers or by their institution. And it is important that institutions do nominate. We send out the call to all the universities, all the science councils, and there's a public call as well. And I think there are a lot of women out there who are not being nominated as yet. So we've just got to up the communication. And programs such as this one really assist us in getting, that call out there to say to young women scientists, this is a program we'd like you to participate in from all the institutions in South Africa, because we want to know that the talent we have is being nurtured and that we're supporting our young women scientists so that they can advance to the highest levels.
So important, it really is. So when we talk about nominations, is the process already opened? I mean, from today, last night was last night, but now we start looking forward to next year.
Now you start thinking
next year.
About next year,
So
absolutely.
do you visit the website if you want to nominate somebody and you feel that someone is deserving of this award?
Yes, when the call is issued, you make sure you meet the deadline. The categories change from year to year. As you know, we would have a strong focus on social sciences and humanities in 1 year, and then the life sciences as well. And in a subsequent year, we'd focus on the physical sciences, engineering and technology. So we do shift to have a change of focal areas, but really it's open from now until the closing date next year.
All right, excellent. Thank you. So get onto that website if you are and you haven't entered someone that you think is deserving of it. You best get there quickly. All right, now let's talk to some of the geniuses here, because I don't say that word too lightly, but when you hear the CV, you'll understand. And I'm not reading the whole CV. I'm reading the first sentence, and this is where it starts. You were the winner of in the Distinguished Young Women's Science category for Research and Innovation. Dr. Lepoto obtained her PhD in molecular and cell biology from WITS, that was in February last year, focusing on microbiology, biotechnology, genomics, nematology, I don't even know what that is, and bioinformatics. I end there because the list just keeps on going. This is incredible.
Thank you. Thank you, Leanne.
What made you want to study this?
I think from an early age I was very passionate about science, but I didn't actually know that this is science. Born and raised in Soweto, so I had my little small vegetable garden at the back of the house. I enjoyed harvesting crops, and I enjoyed even, viewing nature. And I'm grateful that my parents nurtured my talent, and they kept on encouraging me to do what I love. And I feel that science is where I have to be. Like, I love science, it's my passion, and I'm also very passionate about letting more young people to take careers in science, and definitely see that there's a lot more that we can do to advance social situations in our country, and to actually come up with solutions which can solve a lot of problems that we have in South Africa through science.
And I mean, African solutions to African problems. I think that's something that we certainly need to look at. And I mean, when you live here, you grew up in Soweto, you know what the issues are, you know what needs to be done in terms of research and the development of the country. So it's just so important that we nurture that love. When you were at school, though, did it seem at one stage that, okay, no, this is more like what a guy does, not what a girl does?
Yeah, and thank you for asking that question, because I always say, going to a school in Soweto with a lack of learning and teaching resources, it's quite a challenge, but I always say that I relied a lot in the power of imagination. You can imagine a person like me who loves learning about DNA, loves learning about chromosomes, for example. In other schools, they've got microscopes, they've got fancy facilities to actually bring the molecules closer to learners, but we didn't have that. I had to rely on, imagination. And I'm very grateful that I got the opportunity to study at Wits University. And only on my first year in 2007, I was, able to use a microscope and view everything that I imagined early when I was still in grade 10.
Amazing.
And it's amazing. And I think that's one of the factors that made me to say, T, this is where you have to be.
Excellent.
This is where you have to stay.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that you still call yourself T. Even though there's the doctor, you could be calling yourself Doc, Keep it as T, much nicer. All right, now, I want to come over to you because this is also something, Professor Naika, that is so incredible. You are, and you won in the Distinguished Young Women Researchers category in the Natural and Engineering Sciences. But what is so phenomenal about you is that you're the youngest associate professor in the College of Health Scientists, the youngest academic leader or head of discipline for pharmaceutical studies. I mean, this is such a great achievement as well. I imagine what T was saying, and you, is it the same? Is it sort of that nurture you knew from a young age?
Well, I'm another T, so I
guess...
No, she's right. It definitely starts with having passion for your subject. I know that might sound cliche, but that is the key and that is the secret. If you find something that you love and you excel at it, you will succeed. Opportunities will come to you.
Yeah. So, we talk about African solutions to African problems. You're a researcher, and that's what you've been awarded for. What are you researching? What are you currently looking at?
So at my labs at UKZN, well, we're currently looking at a lot of aspects in medicinal chemistry, but our recent finding is that we have a drug candidate that targets one of the world's most dangerous bacteria, to which there's no cure. And we did this only because our lab has infrastructure equipped by support from GST, NRF, and I have world-class facilities, and this is why we can do this type of research.
Amazing.
So we are competing with the world in antibiotic discovery.
Yeah, and these are things that I don't think the average South African knows. Is that we're not playing on a level down here. We're playing on a global level, and there are things that we do in the science fields here in South Africa that are making waves throughout the world.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if we have to elaborate a little bit on that, and I'm not sure.
Prof was just telling an interesting story. Our distinguished professor winner, that she went to spend time at university in the Netherlands.
Denmark.
In Denmark.
And
when she got there, the colleagues thought she maybe would need to be introduced to certain of the equipment, because coming from South Africa, she might not have had access to it.
Yeah.
And so to her amazement, she discovered that her lab is far better equipped than the one she was going to do her work with. So she says she had the pleasure of inviting the Danish colleagues to visit her facility at the University of KwaZulu-Natal.
Yeah.
And they have recently communicated with her to say they've purchased the equipment they saw in South Africa. So it was a lovely story.
That is a great story. I'm sure you had to do a little tour around and tell them how certain equipment actually works, because they were clueless. I love that story. It just shows you impressions are something that we need to get over. And particularly when it comes to sciences, the impression that a woman can't make it in this field is something that this room is certainly dispelling, that myth. Let's take a break. We've got a lot more for you after this. Do stay tuned.